Excuse me, miss? Miss, what on earth are you doing hitchhiking at this hour? Don't you know it's unsafe?
I know. It's just that I'm on my way home to see my parents in Marblehead.
What a coincidence. I'm the head of the church down there. I could give you a ride.
Oh, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, I hate to inconvenience you, Father.
Oh, it's really no bother at all. I always have time to kill. Please come in.
All right. Move this knife out of the way here.
Nice knife.
So how's the brothers doing? It's been a couple days since we've been firing this thing off. We're like firing on all cylinders, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. It's been real good.
Ready?
Yep.
Greetings, fellow Sling agents in the wild. Welcome back to Roll the Hard 20. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian, and with me, my hard slingers of yore.
Yeah.
Knives with no tip are not a knife. They're an axe.
Episode 6 of our Delta Green homebrew scenario, Little Treasures. Last episode, we found our agents following up with Father Miller after a certain line of inquiry, as well as inspection of his dwelling, revealed he was not what you thought he was. And if you want to know what he was, go back and listen to episode 5, because I'm not going to give it away. And if you listen to episode 5, then you'd already know. Now, currently, our agents are at the dwelling of former Detective William Preston. You saw that he lived in that dilapidated streamline that just beat to hell at the end of a dirt cul-de-sac. It looks like it hasn't been serviced in quite some time.
You know.
He let you in. After you knocked, you introduced yourselves. He let you in. You saw that the interior was just completely in shambles. Empty cans, empty bottles all over the place, dirty dishes in the sink, a TV that doesn't work, this dull 40-watt bulb on top of it. And then you started following up with a line of inquiry from the former Detective William Preston about Detective Wallace, what he thought of him, and what he thought of the fact that he was taking over his old caseload with the missing children. And he was quick to say that he did not think that Wallace was up to the job because he was not a very good detective. As he looks at the two of you, he grabs a bottle of whiskey. It's got about an eighth left in it, and just chugs the rest of it, wipes off his mouth with the back of his hand, sets the bottle down. He's like, why don't you tell me why you agents are really here?
We're here because we think you can give us insight and as to why these children are being abducted and what purpose their abduction serves. We have looked through the case notes that the current detective gave us, and it's just not... There are pieces and parts missing. Not because the file's missing, because his research lacks the insight that you have.
Well, as far as my insight involving these missing children are concerned, it only involves 5 missing children. And I always felt like I was close to solving them, you know? But something about it just remained elusive. If I had to put a finger on it, I'd say it was the dark feeling I felt when I had heard that both the Bradfords and the Coolidges, rather than trusting us to find their children, had confided in Marblehead's resident psychic, Madame Sullivan. She appeared front and center almost from the start. And then there was the parents of the child that was supposedly almost abducted, Conrad and Dorothy Hauser, the parents of Richard.
We just saw them.
Yeah, there was some gray powder at the Hauser residence. I found it outside the boy's window, and I don't know what to make of it.
Any ideas on what you think that is? Because that's not the only place that we found it. Odesso?
The one child who was able to remain with the parents actually fended off the attack. The father claims that he found the same gray dust there. And we went back to the most recent abduction, and we found that same dust inside the house on top of the dresser inside the little girl's bedroom. So it was, well, we think it's connected in some way, obviously. Also, another piece of information for you. We think that the abductions have gone back even farther. We're not exactly sure, but we don't think that these particular abductees are the only ones that have been subject to this kind of abduction. We're still doing it, but we think that this runs a little farther than your investigation had found.
Yeah, I had heard about that when I had moved to Marblehead a few years before I came on the force, that there were some children that had gone missing, but that was a few years before my time. I'd only been with Marblehead's PD for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then we started seeing these children go missing. But yeah, outside of that, I couldn't say either way. I always thought maybe it was just some kind of a spook story because of the location being in Massachusetts, that maybe they were trying to spur up some ghost stories to keep children in line, maybe spook the parents, who knows. But once we started seeing our own wave of children go missing, not that I could really say anything for the previous children gone missing, but these ones, yeah, I was there firsthand with that.
Did you find the gray dust at every one of the sites that you investigated?
No, just the one at the Hauser residence.
And where did you find it?
I found it in the soil outside, right underneath the boys' window.
Gotcha. Detective Preston, the gray dust was outside the Hausers. They foiled the kidnapping attempt. We found it inside the room of the latest victim. Is it possible it was present in the other locations and this people just didn't realize what it was and didn't collect it or mistook it for something else? Any theories on that at all? Because I'm trying to find a common theme here.
I couldn't tell you, Agent. The labs went over the rooms of each child. They dusted for prints. They didn't point anything out to me that could have been either way. When I was called out to the Hauser's residence and spoke with Conrad and Dorothy, and they showed me around, he was the one who had pointed out the dust in the soil. And so I took a sample, and there was really no crime. I mean, I looked at the videos. He said he saw some mist floating around on there 2 days in a row. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It didn't look like anything to me. So
Mr. Hauser had said that he prevented his son Richard from being taken because he covered up all the reflective surfaces. Now, at the latest scene, at the Stevenses with Maggie, we found this powder, this same powder, around a mirror. Now, we don't know if we thought that it possibly was print dust.
print
but
dust
when we
is usually black.
Well, prejudices aside, when we showed that to Mr. Hauser, he immediately recognized it for what he thinks it is and told us to leave, never come back, and became very concerned. So I would assume that if at the latest house and at 3.5 or however long, 2 years ago, was it, at the Hausers, that
it was a year and a half ago.
Year and a half. So I would assume that it would have been around some of the other houses too. Maybe nobody noted it down. And you're sure you didn't see anything like that at any of the other houses?
You know, I really wasn't looking for that. When I went in with the rest of the guys, we investigated each individual room of each child, and you can imagine that the first child is very traumatizing to see their room. And then it doesn't get easier with each room you see. It the trauma stacks. And I hate to say it, but the cases, they started becoming a bit much for me. And but it didn't hurt my scrutinization of the crime scenes. And I didn't notice anything. Honestly, agents, I wasn't looking. It wasn't until Mr. Hauser had said something about removing the fixtures out of the house, anything with a reflective surface or something like that. And that was just, I don't want to condemn the man for being off his kilter, but I mean, if you look at any house, there's plenty of reflective surfaces in every house. And we did our due diligence as we went through each house to try to see. I mean, if somebody had some dust here or there, I couldn't tell, and I wouldn't have known until I actually saw the Hauser's residence and saw this dust outside the window.
Did you notice any other pattern or any other common thread between all of the other victims? Anything that can give us a clue as to where we should be looking next? I mean, we'll talk to the soothsayer, but anything else that would give you an indication?
Well, the only thing that I know is that at one point in time, they all went to Abby's Little Treasures daycare, and none of them were over 2 years old. Those are the only two common themes.
Nothing else, huh? Nothing like they went to the same parish or anything at all other than the school and the age. I mean, we're still looking for a common thread, and we're not finding it. We were hoping the dust was, but if you didn't see it, and something strikes me if you had, you would have noticed it. We saw dust, or we know there was dust at 2 different locations, but we're trying to find something else, something that links all these kids together. I mean, the age is obviously readily apparent. The daycare is readily apparent, but what else would bring them all together? We're just not seeing it.
You know, agents, I thought I was a very thorough detective. My case closure percentage is 100% until these missing children came along. And it just, I don't know, I hate to say it, but, you know, there had to be a connection I just wasn't seeing. And I could feel it. I knew I was close.
How could you just give up then?
Well,
Each looks around the room. Is this better?
no, it's not better. In fact, right before this all kind of happened, the captain called me in and said it looked like I was slipping. And I know that there were times that I would watch my children while they slept. And I don't think they realized the wolves that were kept outside the door. And I tried to tell them, I tried to tell my wife, and that's when we started having problems, and she couldn't understand. But by then, and we had stopped talking, and you know, the work bled into my home life, and it broke me, and she saw it, and before I know it, I came home to an empty house with no wife and no kids. And after that, I didn't see a reason to keep doing the job anymore.
Did you go back to your wife and kids at all?
I did quit the job, and I tried to get back my family, and it was too late. Eventually she moved on, remarried, had another child, and I'm happy for her. I'm happy for them, you know. I work at the Tri-Tip Tavern down the road a couple days out of the week, and I'm happy.
This is happy? You gave up and now more kids are even missing? And for what? You didn't even get your wife and kid back.
Listen, agent.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm right here.
Time has gravity, and it pulls on the strings of all of us. And you don't know how far you can be taken down until you see the futility of trying to save innocent little children, and you can't even get out in front of this. And I tried to get out in front of it. I tried to make the connections. I was shut out by some of the parents. I became like a harbinger of doom every time I'd go by and ask them another question. I was the doom that reminded them of their loss.
Is there anything you could tell us about
Beautiful.
an intuition that you had? Not something you could put into a report without people looking at you askance, but some kind of something beyond the pale that if you put to voice, people would cause to question your sanity. But believe me, we're reaching here, and there's something more to this than meets the eye, that meets our present collective observation of what we would consider the real. Is there anything you could put your finger on?
That's what I was saying to my cap. I was saying that to my wife. I was saying it to my children that there's something that connects all this. There's got to be a reason why these children were chosen. There has to be. I mean, if you know your history of Marblehead, you know that this is a heavily rich area for the old world. And they brought all their superstitions and all their hexes and everything else overseas when they came in and settled in the new world.
Each is writing down something on a tablet of paper. Looking at Adesso. Is there anything else here? This man has obviously given up. Look at this place. Here, each tears the paper. Here's my telephone number. If you want to actually help, you call me when you're ready to leave this empire here of yours, your empire of ash, of nothingness. While children are out there dying, you're sitting here finishing another bottle, serving drinks at the Tri-Tip Inn, all that. Great. I'm glad your life is happy now. But when you really want to help out instead of just getting by, you let us know, and we'll keep you informed. Maybe some of the things that we find out may spark something in that rum, whiskey-soaked memory of yours.
You know what? Fuck you, Agent. Every night I stand in my bathroom in front of the mirror and I sprinkle that dust that I recovered from the Hauser's residence in front of it, and I look in that mirror hoping something, daring something to come out of that reflection.
And why do you feel that would actually work, though? Tell me about the mirror and the dust. We noticed a connection to that, too, but what makes you feel
There's something you're not telling us, Preston.
There's nothing I'm not telling you.
Oh, well,
All
you just
I
told
know
us
is that this dust, you wait right here. And he goes in the back of the streamline, and he comes back, and he's got this, what's that?
I'm all, might have worked. I tried pissing him off to get him to...
He comes back, and he's got a cigar box, and he opens it up, and you see that there's a Sig Sauer in there, and right next to it is a little Ziploc baggie filled with this grayish powder. And he pulls it out, and the powder, not the gun. That's coming next.
Exactly.
I sent this powder to the police lab, and they came back saying they didn't know what it was. I sent it to 2 other independent labs, and they don't know. I sent it to a paranormal investigator, and they said it had something to do with ectoplasm or some bullshit like that.
Who did you send it to? Because not the commercial labs, but the person who said that it may have been ectoplasm, whatever.
Oh, it was some... I didn't give them the whole sample. I just sent off a little bit. They were some paranormal investigators. They went by the name of Poke in the Dark or some shit like that.
Well, maybe, you know what, Adesso? Since we're kind of drawing flies here, doesn't seem to be much help. Maybe we take this to Madam Sullivan's Scrying Eye. Maybe she knows what this kind of stuff is. Maybe she'll be a little bit more of a help than someone who left a job unfinished while his children are safe somewhere. Other children are missing. We'll handle it from here. Thank you, Preston.
Look,
I'll walk back to the car. Get him, Adesso.
Listen, you tell your buddy that I tried to get in to see that Madam Sullivan, and I couldn't. And you know who stopped me? The parents of the missing children.
Why is that?
I don't know. You go deal with it, Agent. And here, take this shit with you. And he throws a Ziploc baggie at you of the dust. I don't want to see it or either of you again. If you have anything else to add, get a search warrant. And a 5th.
He's going to slam his broken screen door.
And don't slam the door. It's barely held on.
Well, I was hoping something agitating him might cause him to break, but apparently...
No, he did give us something. He did take it seriously. He did collect the dust. He wasn't a schlub on the case. He just kind of gave up, you know. All right, let's go talk to Madam Sullivan. That seems to be our next thing.
Well, now we got 2 separate things, like current dust and 3-year-old dust, so we can compare that ourselves and see if it's similar.
He said he sent it to 2 different labs, including the police lab. So 3 different labs looked at it, and nobody could tell us what, or no one could tell him what it was.
I thought that he sent it to the lab, but with like, oh, I bet Wallace did something to it. But then he also said he sent it to other labs too. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
yeah.
Now that we've got an idea here.
I think this was just a nice little segue. So in the movie, they could have a nice set change of dilapidated buildings and Preston and his Preston trailer home. Now we go to Voodoo Mama Juju, or in this one, it's Madam Sullivan's Scrying Eyes.
So you punch in Madam Sullivan's Scrying Eye into your GPS, and it directs you back into Marblehead. As you follow this GPS, you find it on the corner of West Shore Drive and Turner Road, not too far from the Waterside Cemetery. You see a row of stores line the streets as you approach the last business establishment before the cemetery proper. Its location, by default, is given a certain amount of privacy, inasmuch as no one just happens to pass on this way to somewhere. It, like the cemetery, is a destination. Many of the old trees that pock the cemetery grounds have, through the ages, encroached upon the main street and beyond, giving Madam Sullivan's business spotted shade throughout the year. You see a wooden placard is hanging from iron chains above the door, and it says, Madam Sullivan's Scrying Eye. And beneath it reads, Giving Insight Through Second Sight.
Clever.
Windows line the front of the building and the door, but the glass has been frosted, keeping the looky-loos from seeing beyond. But such intention veils would only raise one's suspicions about what might be inside, and as a result, would increase the store's patrons.
So Odesso, Kathleen Stevens frequents this place, looking for young Maggie. At least that's what Jonathan says, Jonathan Stevens.
Yeah.
How do you want to go in and talk to this lady? Do we want to maybe procure her services as well, so she'd be more willing to talk? We're looking for these kids as well. Maybe you could give us some insight.
Well, I find it interesting that she would never meet with Detective Preston. That strikes me as
well,
odd.
The parents. Preston said the parents kept him away.
Yeah, but he tried to get over to her, and the parent. Yeah, it's just strange that she wouldn't try to meet with him.
Well, it would be the first 4 kids, right? Preston wasn't around for the Michael Fairborn missing kid, was he?
No, he wasn't there for Stevens. He wasn't there for Hauser, and that was it.
No, Hauser he was, because
Sorry, he was. Yeah, he was there for Hauser. He just wasn't there for the Stevens. So he only missed one. He was there for Bradford's Coolidge. He was there for the Otwiles and the McCreadys.
So the first 4 or 5.
Yeah.
First 5. He wasn't there for the Fairborn child
or
the Stevens child.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, let's think about this for a minute. You tell me what's your gut on this. I find she's either in the know or she's just a charlatan. In which case, if she's a charlatan, we're wasting our time. But if she's got an insight, something tells me she's not very good, because why didn't she figure out that Father Miller was other than what he was? She should have been able to clue on that, or at least sense that there was a great disturbance in the noosphere that would cause her to, hey, there's problems here, big problems, lots of death following this area in this person who's supposed to be a religious guy. So I don't know. She's either on the level or she's just a scam artist.
Well, we've talked to legit seers and
Yeah.
savants and all that sort of stuff. We've seen legit ritual occult items. We'll be able to hopefully be able to discern stuff that's just, Disney's Haunted Mansion type shit versus the real shit. Maybe we do the thing where we're talking to her and I go to the bathroom and look around, or maybe vice versa, because you know more about the occultish ritual type stuff than I do.
All right, let's figure out.
Well, let's just go in. If we can't figure out something, we can shoot her and go.
Yeah, well, there's that too. That's always that is always an option, man. That is always on the table.
Eisenberg, we're going to see an old lady with a crystal ball. Is there a cachet box around?
Hey, Gretna Green.
Yeah.
You know, she was a lot more than what she appeared to be. So there's something to be said
Adam
here. So,
Fontenot.
yeah. There's been a couple of these old ladies running through these.
That's what I said.
mysteries.
We've met enough of them to discern real. So, well, we know what'll be fake. I think if we see like Halloween decorations and that kind of crap, we know she's bogus. But Kathleen has been ruining her marriage with Jonathan apparently by going to this lady. So let's go see. Maybe we can help them out too.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's propose a test. If she knows what's going on, she's going to be able to clue in. So Adesso says, hey, each give me that paper you got. And he writes on a piece of paper, or writes on that paper that each has. And in Aklo, he writes, can you read this? In Aklo.
We found this at a site.
Yeah.
These runes, you know.
Yeah, the Aklo runes. So if she's what she appears to be, she'll be able to read it. And if she's not, then she won't.
We can also play up if she says, yes, I know you're here. I've sensed it. We know that the Stevens lady probably said something. Right. So we could play that up like,
right.
Very impressive, you know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Most impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go in and we'll be kind and affable until we don't have to be.
Yeah, until we're not.
And you know how we'll know when not to be? Dalton will tell us. Roadhouse.
I get it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So, entering the establishment, your senses are met with the strong scent of wood and musk. Wooden floors and rafters are peppered with knots, giving the store a sense of colonial history. Along the back and left walls are glass-topped wooden counters adorned with crystals wrapped in silver bands on chains, as well as leather patches with sigils branded on them. Hanging from the rafters are drying roots, dream catchers, and other twig and chain fetishes that are meant to catch the eye of a would-be buyer. Along the left wall, wooden shelves display a myriad of candles and bells, no two of which look the same, nor are any two priced the same. Sporadically placed along the shelves between the candles and the bells are small glass receptacles labeled Ashes of the Innocents, which range in price from $350 all the way up to $5,000. Hung along the right wall are several foggy glassed black and white pictures in antique frames. Each picture depicts a black goat milling about. There's one with a cabin in the background, one with a well in the foreground, and one with a cabin and a shoreline off to the side. The pictures appear to be candid shots and may or may not be the same goat in each picture. A dark curtain hangs against the back wall behind the counter. On one side of the curtain is an old painting of a disfigured woman with unkempt hair and a blemished face. Her right eye droops heavy as she stands in the foreground of several disfigured trees. The woman and the trees seem to complement one another, and the title of the painting reads, The Wooden Hag. On the other side of the curtain is a black and white aerial picture of an odd island, dotted with trees and a few cabins, and at the center of the island is a lone cabin bracketed on either side by small bodies of water. A label on the picture says, Baker's Island, 1958. And you see a tall woman with auburn hair, dressed in a white blouse with black slacks, dusting the last goat picture on the right wall. And without turning around, she says, Welcome to the Scrying Eye. How may I help you?
I'd like to do an observation check, and I guess more of an intuition check. You know, each and I have been well exposed to what is truly beyond and what is truly weird. The stuff from beyond the veil. Is there anything that we sense that, oh, out of all this crap, that's real. Or, oh my God, these 4 things are real. Or, hey, look, that picture's from Eugene the Wise. Anything like that.
I was thinking the same. I'm not looking, though.
Well, I'd like to do, I guess it would be an intuition check? Or how do you want to do it, bro? Intuition, observation?
Yeah, intuition. Do your intuition check.
All right.
Under 70 for me.
Under 75. 19.
Yeah, 18. I'm winning.
On, man. We are on it.
As the two of you walk into the store and you look at all the stuff on the shelves, you look at the bells, you look at the candles, you look at the ashes of the innocents, and you look at all the stuff that's atop of the counter, you notice that all the stuff looks legit. Like, this is not made in Taiwan garbage crap. Like, a lot of this stuff feels authentic. Like it was made by somebody's hand.
Oh, it's handmade, but does that mean the person who made it had the gift, who could tap into beyond the veil and actually channel what should be channeled? Or is it, rather than it just being handmade, rather than cheap knockoff crap from some third world country, does it feel authentic by someone who has the gift?
Real religious artifacts versus fake tchotchkes.
Okay, well, an artifact...
New Age bullshit.
An artifact is an item that's made out of items, like a piece of wood or something. A relic is something that's made using human remains as well. All these things look like artifacts, but what would make them powerful would be the person to use it. Does that make sense? Like if you had a candelabra that was made in China versus one that was made somewhere in Rome by an artisan who used it to go through the catacombs, you would probably think that in the right hands, the one that was made in Rome would be very powerful as to something that you'd buy at TJ Maxx. And
Gotcha.
all these things look like if they were in the right hands, they would be very powerful.
Yeah, I think what we were looking for was, are these dime store knockoffs or are these like legit? Is this fake Indian jewelry versus this is an actual Indian tomahawk?
No, these are all legit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned that they were all legit. But one other thing I wanted to mention also is that the back counter that's in front of the curtain and the two pictures, there's a line of books that's in the glass counter itself, but from your distance, you can't see what the titles of them are.
Okay. Out of game, Adesso, do we want to show her this gray powder and see if it causes a reaction? And we can question her like, hey, can you help us figure out what this might be? It doesn't seem to be dusting and all that.
If she's legit, we want to bring her in because she may be a reference for us in the future. But I'm thinking, she's got all the outward appearances of being legit. Let's find out if she really is. The ghost killing knife that I have, that I picked up, was nothing more than a table knife, but I don't know what it is or what it does. I'd love her to be able to tell me if she knows. So, I guess we want to ease into this without coming off too strong.
We're going to be in there as agents, though, right? We're not going to be like...
Yeah, we're going to be in there as agents, but we also got to show that we're in tune with the other side. We know there's something beyond the veil that's trying to get in, and if she's got any intuition as to how to defeat it, we want to know. Or if she's the focal point, well, then she's just, lethal force is still on the table.
Yeah. We'll have to see, too, if she's talked to anyone else besides Stevens.
Why don't we come in legit?
Yeah.
And let's just, since everything here seems to be legit, let's treat her with the same legitimacy and come out by telling us, hey, look, we're agents, we're investigating this, we think you can help, and then kind of ease into it. I'd like to take a look at the books and see if any of them reference ACLO, because that would tell us she truly is legit.
Yeah, well, you're talking to her, too. I'll take one and go take a look at the picture, too, and see if it is indeed Eugene the Wise, and we can bring that up to either help show our legitimacy in this or to show her that we're not fools to be taken for a ride. No offense, Ryder.
So which one of you want to go first?
Well, I would say Tone go talking to her, and while he's talking, I'll be poking around.
Okay.
Yeah. Before that happens, each check out the books, just see if they're of the unusual alphabet.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I don't really know that stuff. You would have to, I think. But
Right, but I think you would recognize it. You may not, you won't be able to read it.
well,
but
if I
you
go
would recognize
insane,
it.
sure.
There's always that.
Take a
That's always
closer
an
look at that
option.
painting. See if it's from our favorite author, our favorite artist. I mean.
Yeah, I will do that. I'm going to also see what the ashes of the innocents are, if it looks like the gray powder that we have.
Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
roll 1, 2, 3 for each, 4, 5, 6 for Adesso.
Okay, Lethal Force is back on the menu, boys.
No, Adesso, you go first.
Okay.
My dex is higher. I had
Yeah, right out of the gate.
What time is it? Because I want to start off with good evening or good afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Special Agent Adesso. This is Special Agent Ichi Kimura. We're doing an investigation of some missing children. I'm impressed with your store. You seem to have a keen eye for the authentic.
Are you a fellow connoisseur of our style of life?
I would say yes. Each and I have been chosen for this particular assignment because we have a skill set that transcends the usual training that agents receive.
Okay, and what kind of training would that be, Agent?
Well, sometimes things aren't always what they appear to be, and certain people, without the specialized training or exposure to the other, aren't prepared to recognize it or understand it. We think, and we're here because of the disappearances of these children under 2. The children who have been missing, with the commonality of they've all been patrons of Abby's Little Treasures.
Yes, that's true. You've killed men before, haven't you, Agent? I can see that. You've killed things that aren't men, haven't you, Agent?
That's very intuitive of you. Let's just say Agent Each and I have been exposed to things that defy normal explanation.
I can see that. Your partner has a certain taint on him as well.
I thought my pants were up. I'll just look at her. I go,
Madam Sullivan, you appear to be the real thing. We've got a problem. We want to solve who's been abducting these children. And we have a feeling that
I've been trying to do that for some time.
yes, you've been helping out Mrs. Stevens. At least that's what her husband says.
Yes, and the Ottwilds and several of the other parents as well.
Have you been able to talk to all the families of the children that have gone missing over the last few years? The Bradfords, the Coolidges, Ottwilds,
Yes.
McCrady's.
They've all come to me in turn, yes.
It's unfortunate what happened to some of them.
It is. I
lost hope.
feel that their children are in a better place though now. I could sense it in the divide, is what I like to call it, between where we are and the other side.
As I'm moving around, can I see clearly more on the picture? If it's one
Which
of our
picture are you looking at? The painting?
The painting, yeah.
The painting?
No, not the ones of Prince Philip.
Well, she's right next to those. She's off to the far right side of the store. So
yeah,
you've made your way up along the left where it has all the shelves and stuff,
Yeah,
with the bells
Odessa
and the
was to
candles and
be-
the ashes of innocence and stuff. And I imagine that when you get to the very back and as you addressed her, you look to the left side of the hanging curtain and you see the wooden hag, which is this picture of this ugly woman. And that's really all it looks like. It looks
There's no
like
signature.
no, it appears unmarked.
Okay, this image is very compelling.
Oh, you're talking about the painting of Moll Dyer.
Moldai.
Yes. Yes.
Is she someone from this area?
Probably about over 400 years ago, yes. She came from York aboard the Sovereign in the 1600s. She was, back then, believed to be a powerful woman.
Moldiver? Muff diver? What?
Moll Dyer.
Moldiver. Oh. Sorry, listeners, I'm actually just taking notes. Sorry. Ah, well, yes, the painting's Pretty pretty good. It's not it doesn't strike as much of a chord as who's the painter on this? It's familiar, yet it doesn't have the same gravitas as, say, a painting of Eugene the Wise. Are you familiar with the paintings of Eugene the Wise?
Oh, you'll be hard pressed to find one painting from the master. Certainly not in this store. They're in very high demand and they're of very
Especially
limited
nowadays.
quantity.
Yeah, I would not expect any new ones from that artist. He appears to have stopped painting recently.
Oh, that's a tragedy. That makes the
It
one that I
was.
have in my personal collection worth all the more.
Oh, indeed. Hold on to it. Don't let that one go.
Each, as you're casting your glance between her and the picture of Mulder, back and forth, you glance down into the cabinet and you see that the reason why the titles of the books couldn't be read is because they're partially obscured by frosted glass. And inside you see that there are 3 books. But between the second and third book is a space, as though there would have been another book right there.
Ah. Did you recently sell one of these tomes? Appears like there's a spot missing. Or maybe someone forgot to return it after borrowing it. Do you have a library here?
Boy, you have quite a few questions, don't you?
Oh, I love this sort of thing. It's my life's passion.
Well, if you must know, I lent it out to a friend of mine, Father Miller. He hasn't returned it yet.
Father Miller. I believe he's staying with the Fitzgeralds.
Yes, he's the caretaker of their property while they're away in Florida, I believe.
He's a special man, isn't he?
Yes, but I find him rather dull.
Yes. Not much of a conversationalist.
No, in fact, I was the one that had to encourage him to come into the store when I saw him walking the street back and forth one day, shortly after he arrived here, which reminds me, he's had that book for almost 3 years now.
What are the late fees on something like that?
It cost an arm and a leg in this neck of the woods.
Adesso takes the piece of paper out of his jacket and says, "Ma'am, can you tell me what this says?"
She looks at the paper, holds it one way, holds it the other, looks on the back side of it. It says, "Why would you want to know my age?" And she hands it back to you.
Yeah, out of game, it said, "Can you read this?" That's what Adesso wrote. All right, so she's not schooled up on stuff. That's fine. He goes, pardon?
Or she's fucking around.
She rolled a 37. I'll let that just hang, and you could interpret that however you want to.
So I had been walking around that area, those ashes of the innocents, those vials. What were those all filled with? Are they various substances? Are they all a similar thing?
Oh, they're all filled with similar ash. It's something that I acquire. I make it myself.
How do you make it?
Usually out of birch wood and cinnamon. A little bit of sage in there.
Yeah, I'm not as obviously trained. To my eye, it looks very similar to something we found a little while ago. Adesso, do you happen to have the powder we have?
As a matter of fact, I do. He takes out the packet that he got from Preston and says, "Is this similar to what it is?"
Are you offering it to her?
Yes.
She takes the bag, opens it, sniffs it. It's possible. Where did you acquire this ash?
We received this from Detective Preston. He says that he found it at a site of an abduction.
He was the previous detective on the case.
Well, I can assure you it was nothing quite sinister about our ashes of innocence. And that reminds me, the detective never got an opportunity to speak with me. I know that he had tried several times, but we kept missing each other.
He had said the parents wished him not to speak with you. Do you know what that means? He was also at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey, so maybe this is drunken delusions or angry at himself because he gave up and didn't try hard enough. But do you know why he would say something like that?
Well, it was possible that they believed that he was not doing his job correctly, that perhaps problems at home were keeping him from being efficient, and that is why they came to see me.
And what about, Miss Stevens as well? Apparently had a confrontation with Detective Wallace and gave Wallace quite a wallop on the side of the head, which maybe appears like she doesn't want him to speak to you either. Is there... Why do you think this is? I mean, we tried to talk to her, but she was unavailable. I thought she might be with you. That's why we came here. Have you seen her recently?
I saw her about an hour ago. We had a reading.
How did that go, if you don't mind me asking?
We're still looking for little Maggie. I'm still trying to home in on her.
Have you had any luck?
Unfortunately, no. The ether in this area prevents my vision from crossing the divide. There are a lot of sinister spirits at work in this neck of the woods.
Who's your horned friend over here? This handsome fellow. Is this a Black Phillip? I remember seeing a movie about a goat like that.
Oh no, it's nothing sinister like that. That's just some of the more farm animals that we have over on the island not too far from here.
Are they all the same handsome creature, or are these lineage going through the ages?
She walks down the line of all these black and white photos of the goat, and she in turn touches each frame.
Hey, oh.
They're not the same goat, but they are related.
Oh, they grandfather to kid?
You're funny. You know your goats, don't you? Yes, well, your little inquisition here, is this going somewhere, or are you just testing my my savvy on what's real and what's not real? If I know what I'm talking about, or if I'm actually helping these parents, or am I just fleecing them of their money?
We feel that you're no charlatan. I mean, judging by the, excuse the term, curios and tchotchkes on the walls here, and they appear to be as legit as any of these sort of things are. I mean, but I was hoping that you could be able to help us with this powder, because from what we've seen, this is not some sample of fingerprinting dust or anything like that. It's has something to do with the children, and now we've found them at 2 places, including the newest one. I was hoping someone like you would not only be able to help Miss Stevens, but help us out. What are some more of these pictures here? This old Baker's Island? Is this... Where is this? We're very new here. We're here just a few hours, it seems.
It's a few miles off of Chandler Hovey Park's peninsula. It's a site where they make homemade soap, homemade brooms, little knick-knack items for tourists to see. And in fact, that is indeed where the goat pictures were taken.
Really? Can we get our picture taken with the newest generation here, if we go?
I'm sure the residents there would be very warm and receptive of both of your arrival.
Madam Sullivan, how long have you lived in Marblehead?
My entire life.
And how long has that been?
You're such a cad. You should know not to ask a woman her age. That's rude.
No more than 28 years, I'd say.
Oh, you're so kind. That's close, but thank you. You know, I'm about to close up shop here early for the day. It's been a little slow, so...
Madam Sullivan, you sounded like you had an accent. Perhaps, were you ever a resident of York?
I do have lineage that goes back to the old world, but then again, I think if you were to scratch any resident of Marblehead who's been here their entire life, you would find that they have genes that date back there too.
Where did you get your inventory and your training?
You know, we never tell our trade secrets. For all I know, how old are you, Agent?
Well, I'm in my mid-30s.
Mid-30s, you're probably close to retiring. Who knows, you might even take an unfortunate fall where you become disabled and can no longer do your work, in which case you'd be forced to retire. You may have to eventually open up a store of your own, and if you were to learn my trade secrets, then that would make you the competition.
I understand, although I don't think it is an occupational hazard, but I have no intention of opening a shop of curios and relics.
It's very lucrative.
I'm sure.
He is more likely to lose his life to a giant reptilian insect rather than break a hip. I try to gauge her reaction on that.
She looks at you when you say that. A grimace kind of goes across her face, and she looks at you, scrutinizing you, and says, "Please hold up your hands in front of me."
Okay, I'll raise up my...
And she looks at all your fingers. You're a man of honor. I could see that your lineage blood hasn't caused you to lose any of your fingers yet.
I'm afraid that if I did, they could have just grown back.
She takes a pause at that. I don't know how to answer that, how to respond to that.
How old does she appear to be?
She appears to be in her late 40s.
Is there a Mr. Sullivan? Or was there?
No.
Was there a Mr. Sullivan?
No.
Bit forward, Adesso. You've never been married, you say. Well, both Adesso and I have family at home, and this case really hits hard with us because we also have children. Do you happen to have any kids of your own? I mean, nowadays, you don't have to be married to have children. Surely that's why you're taking such an interest in this. Maybe you have a daughter at home that you're concerned about?
Adesso moves around so that he has her in front of him, but each is not in each is not in his cross sights. If something were to happen, she is not next to each. And so he would be free to use lethal force if necessary. And he just kind of moves and positions himself, and he's hoping that each will notice.
Oh, I'm sure we're familiar with our moving patterns.
I am doing this because I believe I can help the parents. And the parents believe I can help them. And as for your question, I do have a child.
Oh,
I have
may
a
I
daughter.
ask? Oh. What's her name? If you don't mind me asking.
And the name?
Her name is Margaret.
And does she have the beautiful red hair as her mother does?
No, she doesn't. And I will see you next session.
Take it off.
We were getting somewhere, man. Out of game for a second.
Yes.
Each and I know each other well. What I want to do is I'm thinking that she's our problem. I'm thinking she's our problem because of things that she's not said. And I think she's been around for 400 years and she's using the children to keep herself young and vital.
Pretty good.
But I don't know how to communicate that to each because I think she is our objective because this is just too coincidental. There's just too much there. I have a feeling that people are hiring her to find the problem when she is the problem. Just a feeling I've got. Things are not lining up. But I don't know how to communicate that to each. Like this may be, we got to get her, we have to keep her talking for a prolonged period of time until she slips.
Well, you already asked her if she had a husband, asked if she had any kids.
Yeah, she says lineage going back to York. I think she's been hanging around here for the past 400 years. She may have been one of the people coming over on the Mayflower, for all we know. Or she may be the woman.
Because you said she's using kids. Maybe she's having kids. And
no, I don't. Yeah.
That sounds creepy as fuck. But
yeah, but I think she has been using these children She said she's been here all her life for the past 40 years. That may or may not be true. We don't know, but I have a feeling that she is our problem. And I don't know how to tell you that in game without saying something.
Well, I'll keep pressing the thing.
Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget about our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20. So if you're into watching and you want to help support the show, then head on over and hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show out. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to look for us there and check us out. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com, where you can download the current show directly, pick and choose past shows from our archives, or view our galleries. We've got a lot of stuff posted over there, so check us out. And finally, join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So until next time, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.